trying to avoid screen time, trying to avoid time on Instagram because I'm like, I need to be more present. I need to be in the moment. But the thing is that like, I had a podcast mentor of mine. He's 27. He's had like big people like Alex Hormozy, Mike Posner on his show. And he's talking to me and he's telling me about how like Twitter is the best platform. He's like, I get all my podcast guests on Twitter. Like I find,
or
like
X now.
X. He's like, I do all my research on X. So I don't have a Twitter really. So I'm like, what should I do? And I go to follow all the people I've done podcasts with. But as I go through all 60 podcasts, I realized that only like 4 people I've interviewed have Twitter. And then I was thinking, bro, like whenever my mom talks to me about her friends, she talks about Facebook. And when we talk about our friends, we talk about Instagram. And I was thinking, and then I sat down with this girl who has a whole account based on helping people build a personal brand. And she's telling me like, Instagram in our era is your resume, and it's the like holy grail platform. Like if you like a girl, you're gonna go look through their Instagram. If you think some dude's interesting, you're gonna go look through their Instagram. And so it's like, I used to just feel like more screen time equaled like being a less present person and being like less in the moment. But now I'm realizing like, with Instagram and other things such as AI, people are always talking about how AI is going to take over and it's going to be dangerous. It's like, it's a tool. Like you can pick up a hammer and like hit someone with it, or you can use it. And I really feel bad for the people who like, this sounds so bad, but I feel bad for the people who aren't content creators and are like wasting their time on Instagram. Yeah. Because
you just don't have like a reason for it. You're just.
Yeah, and that's like what I said. Like, to me, Instagram's been the biggest blessing in the world. Because like you, I've met so many friends. I've had opportunities. The only reason we're sitting down is because I saw your Instagram. Yeah. And people who are just like mindlessly scrolling or like comparing themselves to others, and it's just like that's a tool that drains their life.
Yeah, and that's why like whenever I look at my screen time, because I think in 2023 that was one thing that I really cracked down on more was my screen time, because everyone struggles with that now. But when I look at it and I see that I've been on Instagram or something for 2 or 3 hours in one day, it's just like, initially it's like, it like hurts because it's like, wow, did I just waste like almost like a fourth or a fifth of my day just like scrolling on my phone? But it's not always that. Yeah. For me, I spend a lot of my time on social media finding new things to do and kind of inspiring myself by looking at other people's work. And sure, I'm still consuming, but it's more that I'm just like inspiring myself.
Well, that's the thing. I had the same like goal, less screen time, but I realized it actually wasn't a good thing I was telling myself, because what I was teaching myself is that work is when I sit down on my computer and I edit. I was like, that's work, and everything else is a waste of time. So I was like, I was going on Instagram, doing more work, DMing podcast guests, making reels and stuff, but then I would feel guilty about it. Yeah. Because I convinced myself that it was like all social media time is bad.
I know. And that's been a huge thing for me as well, is guilt. Yeah. Whenever I'm doing my work and I'm seeing that other people are doing these crazy things and releasing amazing videos almost every other day, and it's just like, why can't I do that? Yeah. I'd spend 8 to 10 hours a day sitting at my computer, and then I still feel guilty that I'm not editing. Whenever I go out and I go for a hike or go surfing or something, it's just like kind of a sense of guilt, and that's something that I still struggle with, that whenever I'm not busy, I feel like I still should be.
Yeah, bro, this is like what Soul Wealth comes out of. It comes out of the biggest addiction in America, which is workaholism. Yeah. And no one really talks about it, and it's the same thing too. It's so big in our like sphere because you feel like you're taking the like everyone says college is a safe route, and we're taking like the dangerous route. Yeah. Even though I'd make a whole argument as to why that's not the case. Yeah. But so we feel this like guilt that like, we grew up watching David Goggins and all these people tell you like, if you want your dreams, just work harder. Yeah. But it's like, what are you working for? And I'm reading this book. It literally just came out. It's by Ali Abdaal, who's like one of the leading productivity experts in the world. And the whole thesis of the book which is like scientifically backed over and over again with like all these studies and says, is that the most productive people are the most joy filled. So when we do like we get in these grind modes where you're like, I'm trying to work 8 to 10 hours a day, and you're like choosing to opt out of plans or fun things. You're sitting down for more hours to work in the day, but you're actually less productive in those hours.
Yeah.
And that's something where I'm like, making sure I get to a joy state before I record this podcast, making sure I get to a joy state before I sit down and edit is like, that's like such a resolution that I'm taking in the new year.
Yeah, I've kind of done the same thing where I kind of try and make it a ritual before I go editing or before I just do anything creative.
Yeah.
I kind of try and get into the best mind space before I do that. Lately, one thing that I've found works a lot is taking cold showers.
Yeah.
I obviously don't have a polar plunge or anything where I can do that, but I've been seeing people stressing how useful it is to do polar plunges or take cold showers, and I've kind of tried to make it something that I do every time because it gets you in that same mind space, and that repetition every time. It's just, I don't know why it works the way it does.
Yeah.
But for me, that's just been one thing that I've seen a lot of success with.
So it is. There's science behind it. It dumps endorphins, but it's like, it's good because you're not like relying on a drug to create it. So like if you're relying on alcohol or drug, then you're like weakening your body's ability to make it because you're getting it from an outside source. But
yeah,
stuff like working out and cold plunges and running, like you're creating it from within. So you're teaching your body how to like make those things better.
Yeah, and doing things naturally like that is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. Because if you have that same ritual where this is kind of what I've started doing every morning. I wake up.
Yeah.
I try not to sleep in. I almost set an alarm every single day.
Yeah.
Maybe not the past few days because it's the new year, but yeah, I have been setting an alarm maybe like 7 a.m. every morning, go to the gym and work out, get back, eat breakfast, cold shower, and get to work.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that I've seen has completely helped me, and it changes the way that I work.
It's interesting too, when I think like a lot of people think very linearly. So, it's like I don't make that much money. I'm pretty broke right now, but I try to like spend extra money on eating healthy.
Yeah.
And where it's like a lot of people will, our age, especially in college, they'll just like rinse McDonald's and all these places. But I really think of it as like an investment where it's like, yeah, now I'm buying all this like organic, healthy food, but I think that in the long term, like medical bills and actually even just going off what we said, like when you eat, I directly notice when I eat like horribly, then I feel horrible. And when I feel horrible, then I'm working not in an optimal position. So it's like really optimizing routine and like doing the cold showers, the sleeping, the eating healthy, like those things make you feel better. When you feel better, you work better.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's honestly, I don't really notice a difference with it anymore because I have just kind of made it a life choice not to eat like that. I mean, we all have our ups and downs with it, but I've just kind of made it like a thing where I almost get like kind of nervous and like scared if I am not eating the way that I should be.
I do too. I get guilty. And that's one of my 10 New Year's resolutions was like, I literally wrote, don't let guilt use you, use guilt for a better you. And what I mean by that is like, I don't want to feel guilty if I'm on Instagram promoting my brand, but I do want to feel guilty if I'm like eating like crap and drinking too much. And so it's like I try to like create guilt as like a weapon for my advantage.
Yeah, and I'm the same exact way. I mean,